Brilliance Audio presents Creation by Gore Vidal, performed by Malcolm Hilgartner. Because of the incompleteness of my misfortune, I was obliged yesterday to listen for nearly 6 hours to a self-styled historian whose account of what the Athenians like to call the Persian Wars was nonsense of a sort that, were I less old and more privileged, I would have risen in my seat at the Odeon and scandalized all Athens by answering him. But then, I know the origin of the Greek wars. He does not. How could he? How could any Greek? I spent most of my life at the court of Persia, and even now in my 75th year, I still serve the great king as I did his father, my beloved friend Xerxes, and his father before him, a hero known even to the Greeks as Darius the Great. When the painful reading finally ended, our historian has a thin, monotonous voice made even less charming by a harsh Dorian accent. My 18-year-old nephew, Democritus, wanted to know if I would like to stay behind and speak to the traducer of Persia. "You should," he said, "because everyone is staring at you. They know you must be very angry." Democritus is studying philosophy here at Athens. This means that he delights in quarrels. Write that down, Democritus. After all, it is at your request that I am dictating this account of how and why the Greek wars began. I shall spare no one, including you. Where was I? The Odeon. I smiled the poignant smile of the blind, as some unobservant poet characterized the expression of those of us who cannot see. Not that I ever paid much attention to blind men when I could see. On the other hand, I never expected to live long enough to be old, much less go blind, as I did 3 years ago when the white clouds that had been settling upon the retinas of my eyes became, suddenly, opaque. The last thing that I ever saw was my own blurred face in a polished silver mirror. This was at Susa, in the great king's palace. At first I thought that the room was filling up with smoke, but it was summertime and there was no fire. For an instant I saw myself in the mirror, then saw myself no longer, saw nothing else ever again. In Egypt, the doctors perform an operation that is supposed to send the clouds scurrying. But I am too old to go to Egypt. Besides, I have seen quite enough. Have I not looked upon the holy fire, which is the face of Ahura Mazda, the wise lord? I have also seen Persia and India and farthest Cathay. No other man alive has traveled in as many lands as I. I am digressing. This is a habit of old men. My grandfather in his 75th year used to talk for hours without ever linking one subject to another. He was absolutely incoherent. But then, he was Zoroaster, the prophet of truth, and just as the one God that he served is obliged to entertain simultaneously every aspect of all creation, so did his prophet, Zoroaster. The result was inspiring if you could ever make sense of what he was saying. Democritus wants me to record what happened as we were leaving the Odeon. Very well. It is your fingers that will grow tired. My voice never deserts me, nor does my memory. Thus far. There was deafening applause when Herodotus of Halicarnassus finished his description of the Persian defeat at Salamis 34 years ago. And by the way, the acoustics of the Odeon are dreadful. Apparently, I am not alone in finding the new music hall inadequate. Even the tone-deaf Athenians know that something is wrong with their precious Odeon, recently thrown together in record time by order of Pericles, who paid for it with money that had been collected from all the Greek cities for their common defense. The building itself is a copy in stone of the tent of the great King Xerxes, which somehow fell into Greek hands during the confusions of Persia's last campaign in Greece. They affect to despise us, then they imitate us. As Democritus led me to the vestibule of the music hall, I heard on every side the phrase, "The Persian ambassador." The throaty syllables struck my ears like those potsherds on which Athenians periodically write the names of anyone who has happened to offend or bore them. The man who gets the most votes in this election, or rejection, is exiled from the city for a period of 10 years. He is lucky.